All right, we are live for another episode of Real Estate Junkies podcast. Today, we have a very special guest at the podcast who does not need a formal introduction. I mean, if you have been in the industry long enough and you have not heard of this guy, I don't know if you have been in the industry or the business long enough. So, he is one of my business partners here at the EXP. He comes from an immigrant family, sold over $1 billion in real estate, built one of the top real estate teams here in Michigan, and now on his way to build an organization of over 3,000 agents nationally and globally. The man, the legend himself, Mark Z. Thank you, Mark, for being on the podcast. Welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you, Syed. Wow, for that introduction. I feel like I can only fail from there.
Only go down from there. No, it's only going to the top from here.
All right.
So I appreciate your time again. I know someone at your caliber, you're probably busy with all your time. I appreciate you giving us your time. Now, before we get into our today's discussion, I would like to briefly go over your story because I feel that not many people out there know your story. They just see all the billboards and all the advertising that you put out there and just assume that you come from success, right? When there is a shiny object, like a lot of people get that shiny object syndrome. A lot of people fall into, just assuming, this guy's successful. He must have come from success. But when I, heard your story for the first time last year, I was pretty surprised to learn about the journey you had to go through to get into real estate and become successful. So give us just like maybe a 15-minute version of your story and how you got into real estate for our audience here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it would have been nice to come from success or come from money. That was far from the case for me. My dad came from Jordan, so he was an immigrant. Came here when he was about 19 years old. Slept in a car for a little while until he got his feet on the ground. Literally came here with pennies in his pocket. Didn't know what he was going to do, and ended up getting in the restaurant business. So I grew up in the restaurant business ever since I was like, 9, 10 years old. I was washing dishes at the restaurant, and the worst part was the restaurant, which growing up, I started to hate the restaurant business, and I'll tell you why. The restaurant was literally within walking distance of my house, so it was all too convenient for my dad to call me every time they were busy, and I'd have to go run in there, whether it was rain, snow, it didn't matter what. I had to go run into the restaurant, and I was the dish dog, right?
Wow.
It was a little Coney Island. It was he was the chef. He worked 7 days a week from 4 in the morning, just like those Dunkin' Donut commercials. Literally 4 in the morning. He would get there because he had to make the donuts and be open by 6 a.m., 5 or 6 a.m. Maybe it was even 5. I don't know. But I know he got up at 4 in the morning to get there. And the restaurant didn't close till 10 o'clock at night. So wow. You do the math. I think that's 16 hours a day. And he did this for about 20 years. And then finally, the last 10 years of his career, he cut his hours. I guess he says that me and my brother and sister used to complain that we never see him. So the last 10 years of his career, he cut his hours and closed by 6 p.m. But for 20 years, he's working 16 hours a day. Basically, coming home, think about it. He's coming home and just sleeping, waking up. I don't even know when he had time to make us, right? Like, how does it, I mean, there's
living the American dream, don't even have time to dream.
Yeah, right. So, there's no family vacations growing up. I don't ever remember having anything name brand. I remember kids, coming to school with Jordans on, and that was not even a possibility. At the time, those shoes were like $100. I mean, my budget for shoes were like $20-$25. We shopped at J.C. Penney's, for clothes. I remember, but I can't complain because there's people who never even got new clothes. So, that's why my dad's always my hero, is because I didn't know. And I wasn't short of anything, right? I had everything that I've ever wanted. I thought I was good. My dad at the time, looking back, he made about $35,000 a year. He was the sole breadwinner. My mom didn't work. She worked at the restaurant, as a waitress. But he found a way to save money from that 35,000. So we
That's
lived
crazy.
That's nuts, right? We lived very frugal, but again, I can't say that I was missing anything. I thought I had a great childhood. I don't look back and say I was starving or there was times where, I wish I had dinner. That wasn't the case at all. So there was always people in a worse situation than me, but money was always an issue, right? When you make 35,000 a year household income, your parents are coming home talking about money, they're stressing about money. And so, I was always motivated by money. I was always fascinated by money. So 9, 10 years old, I was stealing because my dad didn't know. I was taking the atomic fireballs, from the candy shelf every time I'd go work there, and I'd sell them to the students on the school bus.
That's
And
funny. When I heard that, when you tell the part of the story, I was cracking up. I was like, that's crazy. You were like a hustler, like a little hustler running around.
yeah, I mean, I'm selling them for like 10 cents, I mean, I'm coming home with like $1 in my pocket, $2 in my pocket, thinking, I hit the lotto every day. But I run into kids on Facebook, that I went to school with, and they always remind me of, remember when you were selling those atomic fireballs to us? And so, anyone that knows me growing up knows that, I've always been a hustler, always been an entrepreneur. So I grew up in the Commerce Township area. I was the only Arab in my school. Needless to say, this was, gosh, I'm not going to tell you how many years ago, because in my mind, I'm still 25 years old. But back then I was the only Arab in my school, and it was pretty racial. I got to tell you, I fought all the time. People used to call me all kinds of racial slurs, and it was I don't ever remember a week in elementary school or middle school not fighting, constantly fighting. I had to stand up for myself. I wasn't going to be bullied, but I was always bullied, right? Because I was the Arab kid. I was different. So growing up, I was working at the restaurant. I always remember having like 10 jobs. I was also a paper boy. I was cutting 15 lawns, for people in my neighborhood. I was doing the snow for them. I worked at Burger King. I was a waiter at a restaurant. I was a lot of these were at the same time too. It's not like I was job hopping. In high school, I was a telemarketer for a heating and cooling company. So I got a lot of telemarketing experience for about 3-4 years. I did that. So that helped me in my real estate career. Going to school, my parents told me I had two choices growing up. You can be anything you want, they said. Just pick a doctor or a lawyer. One of those. Those are my choices. My dad always told me he'd kill me if I got in the restaurant business. He wanted a better life for me. He didn't want me, doing what he did, working, 120, 130 hours a week. So I go to school and I graduate and go to college, doing all the right things. End up getting accepted to law school, but I end up backing out because I wasn't cut out for another 3-4 years of school. After the 4 years of college I went to, I always had that entrepreneur spirit. I wanted to, get out and get in sales or business, something like
Start
that.
seeing money.
Yeah. I just didn't have patience, right? Then so I end up backing out. I get accepted to U of D, University of Detroit, is it Detroit Mercy Law School or University of Detroit Law School, something like that. I ended up telling my parents I can't do that. So they said, all right, then your other choice, go to apply to med school. So I applied to
Even worse.
yeah, even worse. I hated science. But I went down the road. I applied to a podiatry school in Chicago because one of my uncles was a podiatrist. So I get in there, I get accepted, and I back out. I said, I just can't do it. I hated science. Now I'm about to go to 4 years of med school and then 2 years of residency. There's no way. So I get a job. I go get my offer letter with my mom. I remember it like yesterday. She's in the car with me. She's all excited to see, what this offer was going to be. I open up the letter and it's $30,000 a year. Mind you, I was excited. $30,000 a year is my first job, making $30,000 a year. That's like $600 a week. Mind you, I'm living at home. The only payment or bill I have was my black Corvette convertible, which was $603 a month. So I'm thinking, gosh, 1 week goes to pay the Corvette. The other 3 weeks, all I need is money to go to the bar and go out and hang out, and I'm good. I look at my mom. I'm like, this is great. She's crying. I'm thinking she's crying tears of happiness. Like, she's so happy for me. I'm like, I made it. Right? She's like, no, Mark, I wanted something better for you. I wanted you to have a better life than this, And she's crying tears of just disappointment, right? Nothing worse than seeing your parents just totally disappointed me. So I go and I'm working there for a couple of years, end up switching. They go out of business or something. I don't know what to do with my life. I'm not too proud to say I got into real estate because the barrier of entry it was nothing, right? You either, you take your 40-hour test and and you're a realtor. And that's why we have so many clowns in this industry, is because it's so easy to become a realtor, right? So, my choice is become a realtor or a mortgage broker, right? It costs really no money, $200-300, and you go get a license in either one. So I call out my.
So what year was that around?
That was so this is 23. I'm in 23 years now. So in
So about 2000.
2001, right around there. Yeah. So I call all my mortgage buddies. I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about getting my license and becoming a mortgage broker. They're like, no, bro, you don't want this. You don't want no part of this. It's paycheck to paycheck. It's really cyclical. And so I'm like, okay. So I go call on my real estate buddies. I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about becoming a realtor. What do you think? They're like, absolutely not, man. Paycheck to paycheck. The average salary is like 30 grand, 35 grand. You don't want to do this. So I'm like, great. Both people are talking me out of this horrible industry. Flip of a coin, honestly. I just decided real estate. I get into real estate, and I remember going to tell my dad, I'm going to be a realtor. My dad wanted to kill me. I mean, I've never seen the man more upset than when I told him I want to be a realtor. Let me tell you why. Right next door to the restaurant was a Century 21 office. All these realtors, as I was growing up, I'm going to the restaurant working and stuff. All these realtors used to come to the restaurant. They couldn't pay their bill. These are $5 Coney Island bills, right? 2 Coney Islands and a coffee and a pop. You're talking about $5. They couldn't pay the bill until they sold their house, until their commission check came in. So my dad had this pegboard, and he had like those pins. You remember those, different color pins? Man, I just remember this. I don't remember a lot from my childhood, but I remember this. There's these pins, and every pin had like 10, 15 bills behind it, and each person's name.
Like tax.
Yeah, and my dad was like a realtor. He was like their broker, because he knew when their closing was, right? He's like, Johnny, you got the closing coming up on Saginaw Street on Thursday, huh? He knew because he was getting paid that day, right? So, Johnny would come in, oh, Sam, I'm so sorry, closing got delayed, or, closing fell apart. My dad is like their broker. He's like, what? What do you mean?
More in the real estate business than the restaurant business.
Yeah, I swear to God. He was like their broker, rooting them on, because he needed them to close so he could get paid. So he's got like 15 realtors' bills waiting for their next commission check. And then here comes his oldest son, who's supposed to be a doctor or a lawyer, and tells daddy that he's going to be a realtor.
One of those pins on the board.
Yeah, exactly. He's probably thinking, like, let me go put your name on the board with your own pin, Mark. Let me get that ready for you. So he's just disgusted, man. He's like, of all things, you want to be a realtor? So I get my license, and I work at Coldwell Banker in Northville. I'm there for 3 years, and I'm running around with buyers, right? Because, I mean, that's what you do when you first get into real estate. It's the barrier, the least, the easiest way to get into business. That's what I'm saying. The easiest way to do business is working with buyers, right? Most buyers aren't interviewing you like sellers. You get a call. So
we don't need much experience. Yeah.
No, not at all. You go turn a key, and, you can BS your way through it. So I'm working buyers for 3 years, but I'm following in the same footsteps as my dad. I'm working like 60, 70, 80 hours a week in real estate. I'm also bartending at this local Italian restaurant on the corner of Maple and Haggerty, because I needed a paycheck. At first, you're not making any money. So I'm working there at night, real estate during the day. I'm doing 2 open houses on Saturday and 2 on Sunday. So 4 open houses a weekend, just trying to pick up buyers, right? I was doing good. I mean, I think my first year I made about 70 grand my first year, which was amazing for me. But I'm working a lot. I have no life. Then the Schweitzers, they're the ones that own Coldwell Banker. They bring this guy to town. His name is Mike Ferry. He does this seminar on how to pick up listings, calling expired listings and for sale by owners. He does the seminar because he wants you to get the coaching program. So he sells his coaching program. It's $1,000 a month, and he's got this money back guarantee. So I go home, I tell my wife, hey, this guy came to town. He does a seminar, and I talk her into, let's spend $1,000 a month. He's got a guarantee. If it doesn't work, I get my money.
Get a refund. Yeah,
I'm like, it's probably not going to work. I'll get my money back in 6 months. Probably learn a lot. So I give it a try. I come home. We're practicing the scripts. She was great about it. We're doing the objection handlers every night until I memorize them. She's acting like the client, I'm the realtor, she's giving me the objection. I've got like this book of objections I got to memorize. And so every day, then I start making calls. My coach is calling me every single day, making sure that, or not every day, he's calling me once a week, making sure that I'm making my calls. We're tracking my numbers, like everything's, real systematized. Next thing you know, I start getting listings. Not only do I get listings, I'm getting them at like 6%. I'm just following the scripts they're telling me. I'm just doing everything they tell me. I got that type A personality. I need a plan. I need to know what to do, and I'm going to do it. Yeah. But I got to have that plan. Otherwise, I'm all over the place. So give me a plan, and I'm doing it. So he tells me the scripts. He tells me, go in. Here's what you say in the presentation. I follow it like a nerd. I got it on the clipboard. And still, till this day, I take that clipboard with me because clients get you off track. I know the questions. I know the script. It's totally internalized, but I just like having it in front of me in case they get me off track. I'm taking listings now. All of a sudden, I'm taking listings from strangers. Prior to this, I took some listings, but they're all friends and family. And if you know anything about the business, when you take listings from friends and family, you pretty much do it for free. They think they're doing you the favor, right? I mean, they're giving you this listing, and they even got this disgusted look if you charge them anything, like you're charging me. What are you charging me? Anything you charge them, it's too much. So I learned early in the business that, when people sit in my office now and I say, why are you getting into real estate? They say, I know a lot of people. I tell them, you're going to go broke if you depend on the people you know. Right?
Yeah.
Until you're an expert, until they respect you, you're going to do that business for practically nothing because they're doing you the favor. That's what they do, right? Or they're not even giving you the business, right? You realize a lot of friends and family, haters, right? They'll go give it to a stranger rather than give it to you.
Yeah.
You're going to scratch your head. I mean, you can ruin a lot of relationships when you get in this business because it's frustrating. You're watching your friends and family give these listings and work with buyers. And I can't tell you how many clients I have that are friends and family of my realtors, but yet they call us, right? Because they just got into business.
Yeah.
I tell them you got to earn the respect of your friends and family before they're going to call you. So I start taking listings, and next thing you know, the business starts blowing up. Mind you, when I say I'm prospecting for expireds and for sale by owners, I'm not prospecting an hour a day. I'm doing this 8 to 10 hours a day. This is all I'm doing. I'm calling expireds and FSBOs, or I'm on an appointment. That's my job. I'm no longer working with buyers. I start taking 5, 10, 15 listings a month. Now the buyers are coming in, and I don't have time to deal with them. I don't want to run around with buyers, right? When you start getting listings, you kind of want to give the buyers up. Like that game gets exhausting driving around with buyers. Besides that, you can't scale the business when you're working with buyers, right? I mean, you're limited.
Yeah, when you're running around doing 2 things at a time. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, how many buyers, how many motivated? If I said, Syed, I'm going to give you 15 motivated buyers that want to buy this month, you wouldn't be able to do it. There's not enough time in the day. Right? But if I give you 15 listings, after you get them in the MLS, they're all, you'd say, Mark, give me more after a week. You're good, right? Once you got them listed, someone else is out.
It's scalable. It's faster. Yep.
Scalable. So I started to scale the business. I hired a buyer's agent. At the time, there were no teams. Nobody knew what a team was. If you even called yourself a team, you had an assistant maybe. I wasn't trying to build a team. I didn't know what I was building. I just knew that I couldn't take these buyer calls and run around with buyers because my job, according to my coach, was you stay in the office and you prospect and you go out on listings. That's the most dollar productive activity you can do. So that's what he told me. That's what I did. I was on the phone all day long calling expires and FSBOs or out on an appointment. That's it. Everything else was delegated out. I hired an assistant so she could do all the paperwork because I'm coming in with these listings. And at the time, we were responsible to put them in the MLS. We had to fill everything out. We had to order the pictures. I didn't have time to do that because if I did spend time doing that, I wouldn't be on the phone. So I hired an assistant, and then I hired a buyer's agent shortly after. Her name was Sandy. Sandy was with me for 20 years.
Oh, this Sandy, the one in the team?
Yeah. She's not on the team anymore, but she was on the team for like 21 years, 22 years.
Crazy.
Yeah. So I said, listen, I need you to just take all the buyer calls that come in and work all the buyers while I'm handling listings. I'm going to keep bringing in listings and you just keep working the buyers. And that's what we did. She handled the buyers until she couldn't handle any more buyers. And then I had to hire another buyer's agent. And that grew to what is today 120 agents we have today on the team. We have multiple listing agents. We've got multiple buyer's agents. We've got, management staff of, 6 or 7 individuals, in management. We've got administrative staff of about, 10, 12 people, consisting of closing coordinators and marketing coordinators, compliance, and, you name it. I mean, it's a true business rather than a
Yeah.
job. And that was my dream, was to create something that would be sustainable after Mark Z was no longer here one day. So, and that's what I did. Created a business
Wow.
rather than a job.
That is an amazing story. And some of the things that I picked up and I think that we all can learn from is, number one, when the whole school thing happened and you didn't see the engineering or the doctor and the lawyer as an option, most people would be like, okay, let me go take over my dad's business. And
Yeah,
you didn't, because you knew the struggles of your dad and you didn't want to just like submit to like, oh, okay, I'm a failure, I'm just gonna try to follow my dad's footstep. Second thing I picked up was you got on the coaching is when you started seeing success, right? So following a proven path and staying consistent is what got you the success. And number three, when you got to your capacity, you recognized that and you added the assistant, and most people be like, no, I want to keep all the money to myself, right?
right.
And if you have had done that, which is most cases, I the most top producers I know of, who are still a single agent, is usually because they want to keep all their money to themselves.
Yeah, it's amazing to me. Realtors do not like spending money. I mean, they don't want to spend money on anything.
Yeah.
But what business in the world can you just keep taking from and not reinvest?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? There's two things that are the most. If you said, Mark, what's the two things that really surprise you in this business? It's two things. One, it's people get in this business as entrepreneurs, but yet they never reinvest back into the business.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two is they don't buy the product that they preach and sell all day long. Most realtors don't own anything besides their primary home, which is
That's
amazing.
crazy. Yeah.
They go their whole career and never buy the product that they preach. It's a
Mm.
great investment, and they're selling it all day, every day. We're selling houses, but yet you never bought any investment properties your whole career. That's just
Yeah.
mind
Yeah,
boggling.
and when I coach agents now, I tell them that the difference between a job and a business is that business requires you to invest your money back. So I teach like at least minimum 10% of your money should be invested back, other than your broker money. If you're paying your broker a lot of money, that's on you. But you should spend 10 to 30% of your money back into your business to grow the business. Otherwise, you just own a job and you're going paycheck to paycheck and deal to deal without being able to scale it. So we got some viewers here. If you guys have any questions, you can put it in the comments, and I will try to go through that. But let's get a little personal. I feel like I need to learn from you and the way you are. What's your daily routine like? What do you do now that you have your team and you have these businesses and now you have a legit business? What's your daily routine like? What do you do day to day?
Yeah, great question. Besides just sit around, watch Judge Judy, and eat bombs all day, right? Yeah, no. So I've got a few different businesses other than just the real estate team. So the real estate team is one company. I've got a property management company, JMZ Management. We manage almost 1,000 doors.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and it manages. I personally got about 400 multifamily doors, and then a bunch of commercial, office, industrial, research and development buildings. So a variety of that. So the management company manages my properties. That's why I started the management company originally. Was, again, I had to delegate that off my plate, or else I was going to be the property manager, and I was going to be a property manager. So I started JMZ Management, and then once my clients found out that we're managing properties, they started giving us their properties. So I've got the property management company that's got a staff of about 12, 13 people.
Wow.
So I've got to be there for them and meet with them weekly. So I got the property management. Then I have a home improvement company called Mario Brothers Home Improvements. Mario Brothers Home Improvements supports the management company and also our agents. So when clients buy and sell homes, they need work done a lot of times to the property. So Mario Brothers helps support that. So that's a home improvement business. And then I've got, like I said, a wide variety of rental properties. So even though the management company is managing it, you're still always involved as an owner. And then we've got what's called syndications. We've got properties throughout the entire country, multifamily properties, anywhere from $5 million up to $40 million. So a wide variety. You've got some apartment complexes that are 300-400 units, in Texas, in Mississippi, and those are syndications. When I say syndications, that means we allow investors to invest into those with us. So you put in 100,000 and you're a percent owner. You get part of the net income. You get part of the profit when we sell, and you do nothing. So a lot of investors love that. They do nothing. They get a 10% return on their investment. That's what they get, a 10% preferred return. And then they get part of the equity when the property's sold or if it's ever refinanced. And you literally do nothing. It's called mailbox money. You get a check,
you're not doing anything. You guys are taking care of all, like, finding deals, vetting them and going through negotiation, acquiring them, managing them. People are just, that is definitely, it's like a holistic perspective when you're looking at it. Like, okay, I want one company, basically Tony Robbins concept, right? Like one company to support the other company, and all of them are literally connected together, I'm sure.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's nice. I mean, if you were to do it on your own, I challenge people, do you really make 10% on your money after you pay all the expenses, the taxes, the insurance, the repairs? How about when that unit's empty for a month or two? Add that all up over 5 years and tell me if you made 10%. Most people won't.
Very difficult. Yeah,
very difficult.
You got to have the connections. Yeah.
Especially right now with the way home prices are right now, it's ridiculous. So that's a great opportunity for investors. And, but my main priority is still the team. We have a 5-year vision. It took me 20 years. In 20 years, I did $1 billion in sales in 20 years. And we have a 5-year goal to do $1 billion a year. $1 billion in 1 year in 5 years.
That is crazy. That's the crazy amount of growth.
Yeah. So that's going to involve multiple offices. That's going to involve, multiple Mark Z branches. We just opened up our first branch out on the east side in Macomb. That's our first. We absorbed a team. There was a $25 million team that was out there. We absorbed them, made them part of our team, and moved some things around. And we're doing that more and more. We're absorbing teams. It's a win-win. So there's a lot of people that have, teams that are doing, anywhere from 5, 10, 15, 20 million, but they don't know how to take it to the next level. Well, we support them by providing all of the staff that they need, right? A lot of the systems and tools like Follow Up Boss, Happy Grasshopper, a lot of the systems that we have, we can scale. We can allow them to use it for a fraction of the cost. We can allow them to use our transaction coordinators, our closing coordinators, our listing coordinators. All of that, we take a percentage of each deal. So instead of them dishing out, $10,000 a month or $50,000, we're basically their credit card. They can operate their business, continue on with their brand. We're not even, they continue on with their business, but we're like the back office support. That they can't scale into, right? So they only pay when they close a deal. And so, that's another program that we're having success with. So, if you're a realtor out there and you're doing 5, 10, 15, 20 million, but you just don't have the capacity or don't want to front that bill. Sometimes you'd rather just pay, kind of like Zillow. Instead of paying Zillow for each lead, we're on the Zillow Flex program now. We pay them 35% at closing. It's a lot more than if I was to pay per lead, but I have no risk in the deal.
Risk or liability is not there. Yeah.
I mean, I used to pay $40,000 a month to Zillow and buying leads. Now I can take that $40,000 and buy something else. And I only pay them when we close, right?
Yeah, so it's actually difficult. Like 2020 was the last year I did Zillow, and my monthly cost was $8,000, and I was a single agent with a TCN and ISA, and it was, if I'm not waking up in the morning and getting on these leads and going out to show these houses, I'm literally dumping money into a well, right? Like it's like a huge liability and stress. Like, oh my God, how am I going to pay the next month's $8,000, right?
Right.
Yeah, and I could see, actually, I've been watching you for a while, and I could see the things that you guys are doing at the Mark Z team. Looks like you guys are shaking things up. The Z boot camp going on right now, it is better than it has ever been. This is my 3rd boot camp that I'm attending. So, what is the thought process? I know you want to 5-year goal. you want to hit that $1 billion, but with all the changes you're making, where is all this coming from? And I see that it probably happened over the last year or a little bit over that. Like there
Yeah.
is change of the way you ran business before versus now. Where is all this coming from?
In order to hit that goal, there's an old saying: in order to get what you want, you have to help people get what they want first, right?
Yeah.
So we had to take a step back. We broke things down. It was uncomfortable on the team. I know it was uncomfortable because we were telling people that what they created the last 2, 3, 4 years wasn't good enough, right? And it wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
How are we going to scale? And it's one thing that we have 120 agents, but how do we get to 300 agents was the question without losing quality, right? Because we don't want people to feel like they're just a number. Big deal. I mean, I know I could add another 100 agents, but if those 100 agents aren't productive, I feel like, we pride ourselves on the fact that we feel like our team is our family. What good is if I bring on 100 agents and they fail and they don't sell? So, just like you're responsible for your kids, you feel responsible for their success, right? I mean, anyone can go and have kids, but we take pride as parents on how successful our kids are, right? And if they're not successful, we take it personal, like we failed. It's not always the case, but we do. We take it personal as parents. And as a team leader, I treat my team and my agents the same way. If they fail, I will take responsibility. I feel like I failed them. What could I have done different? Some will say, "Oh, they weren't motivated though. They didn't show up." Okay, well, maybe that's still my fault.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't motivate them.
Taking extreme responsibility. Yep.
Always, always. And that's how I look at everything. If I'm at a red light and someone hits me from the back, I know the law says it's their fault. If you ever get hit from the back in Michigan, it's their fault. But I don't look at it like that. I say, Mark, you should have been paying attention. What if you were looking in that rearview mirror and you seen them coming? What if you would have got out of the way? What if you would have honked your horn? Like, how could I have changed that outcome? So we had to take a step back and we had to completely revamp our training program. We feel like in order to hit $1 billion a year in sales, your agents are going to have to be a lot more productive than they are now. We don't feel like leads is a problem. We've got an abundance of leads. I think right now we've got over 50 to 60 new leads that come in every single day. So we know we have an abundance of leads, but how do we get our agents to convert more leads? We've got to train our agents better. So we redid our whole boot camp program. I brought Phil on. Phil's our new COO for the company. And so we're revamping our boot camp program. We've got mentors now on the team. What's a mentor? A mentor is one of your peers that is going to be able to answer all of your questions. They're going to meet with you. So every mentor has 5 agents that they're responsible for.
Wow.
And that's been huge, right? So now an agent has one of their peers who's been successful in real estate to be able to go to for any questions they have. They got to write an offer. They got to negotiate. What do they do, right? Not that management can't help them, but management can only do so much. And we find that agents like it a lot better when they can lean on a team member, one of their peers, better than a manager. Kind of like our kids, like they'd rather hear from one of their friends than their parent.
Yep.
Right? We tell them all the time, don't do this, don't do this. But, one of their friends tells them all of a sudden it's a genius idea. So we've got the mentor program. Then we've also got what's called our ZLC. It's our Z Leadership Committee. So we've empowered 10 of our top agents, and these agents are going to be the ones that are going to implement world-class service. Their job is to figure out how can we deliver world-class service. It's part of our core values to be able to, it's part of our vision to be able to deliver world-class service. Any of the biggest companies in the world, Google, Amazon, Apple, they're all focused on customer service. I was just listening to, I went to a conference, you were there, with Matt Ishbia.
Oh, right? Yes. Yeah.
From, UWM. And what was his focus? Service, right? That's what sets you apart. Unless you've got a product that nobody else in the world has, then you can sacrifice service, right? Because people have to have it. You're the only one who has it. They have to come see you. Yeah. That's not the case. We're not the only realtors. We're not the only realtors in town. So we've got to be able to deliver service that they've never had before. And we feel like if we can do that, people are going to continue coming back and they're going to refer their friends and their family. And then it's a win-win. Everybody wins.
Yeah. So anyone in your shoes, right? It's a very difficult thing to do what you guys are doing, taking a step back, restructuring and changing the way we run our business, right? Anyone in your shoes, the amount of success you have seen probably would be comfortable, right? So what is it for you that keeps you on the edge and prevents you from becoming comfortable? Like
Go out,
what is this? What is this vision?
yeah, go out and buy a Lamborghini and a Rolls Royce, and you won't be comfortable. You got some bills to pay, right?
Yeah.
But I laugh, but I say that with sincerity. Keep setting the bar higher. That's what makes this all fun, right? Uh,
Yeah.
and so I'm always buying something or something that's going to keep me motivated, something that's going to, what's the next thing, and that's what keeps me going. That might not be true for everybody, but it keeps me motivated. Like I said, we've got a 5-year goal to hit $1 billion a year in sales. That means we got to help a lot of realtors. I'm not going to be able to do this alone. I'm not even involved in the business. If I take 10, 15 listings a year, that's a lot for friends and family. So in order to do that, that means I'm going to have to help a lot of realtors sell a lot of real estate, and
Yeah.
that's a win to me. If I can help a lot of realtors sell a lot of real estate, that means them and their family and their kids. That means I helped out all their families, and so for me, that's gratifying.
That's amazing. So I have to ask you this question, and I feel like a lot of people out there struggle trying to get a balance on this, right? Give me your opinion. How much money is enough money, or is there such a thing as enough money?
Yeah, great question. So it's not a matter of how much money you have. I feel like it's a matter of how much residual income do you have coming in every month. That would give me a lot more comfort than having a big pile of money. Because
Mm,
depending on your lifestyle, meaning what I mean by that is rather than having $1 million in the bank, let's say you live off of 100,000 a year. Okay. That means in reality, if you've got $1 million in the bank and you couldn't work tomorrow, or God forbid you were to die and your family, that's what they have to live off of. And their lifestyle is 100,000 a year. I mean, life's short, life's crazy. You don't know what could happen. You got to prepare. So, or let's say you wanted to stop working, right? I mean, who
yeah.
wants to work forever, right? One day maybe you want to do something that you love doing, but you don't want to do it for the money. So if you've got $100,000 year lifestyle and you've got $1 million in the bank, that means you got 10 years. Time's ticking. What are you going to do in 9 years when
So
you got
even a million is not enough in that case. Yeah.
million's not enough? But if you have 100,000 a year coming in, 10,000 a month, 8,000 a month coming in, you can feel comfortable. You can live the rest of your
Mm,
life. You don't need a million. You don't need really anything in the bank because every month you've got $8,000 to $10,000 a month coming in. So instead of focusing on how much money is enough,
yeah.
you should be focusing on what can I do with my money in order to invest to to generate residual income, which is a big reason why I got into EXP.
Hmm.
That
Yeah.
that revenue share, that
Yeah.
residual every month it comes in.
Yeah.
Regardless of what happens in my business. If my business is down, I still got that revenue share coming in. And when I seen that model, that was huge. That was a game changer to me. That was like the money I make from rev share is like me owning 100 properties,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like I'd have to buy 100 properties in order to generate what we make in our rev share. And I know you know what I mean, but I never like to sell or promote EXP based on you should come over here because of the rev share,
Yeah.
because that's just a small portion of it. The real reason why you know people are flocking to EXP is because you're surrounded by like-minded individuals like me, like Syed, like you come in. We are your mentors. We
Yeah.
have a vested interest in your business. If you don't sell, we don't get anything. So that's the reason why you should come to EXP, is because you're surrounded by other realtors who are going to be sharing and caring and have a vested interest in your business. Because if you don't sell more real estate, they don't benefit in any way. So do you think we care? Absolutely, we care. We've got a
Yeah.
financial interest in everybody's business that comes into EXP. So that's the reason why it's changed people's lives and why it's changed their business. Not because of the rev share. The rev share is just the gravy on the mashed potatoes.
So actually, I had a question. I had this question to ask you. So I guess like now that we're talking about it, I'll ask you. Before, how long has it been you in EXP? Like 5 years now?
Yeah, 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So now the network and the people that are in the network of EXP. But before you came, you probably didn't know all of this, right? Now that you have experience for the past 5 years, now you have this conviction. But anyone else in your shoes, you were already successful. I would say you had a lot of sales, and you had a team when you were at Keller Williams. what is it? What was the thought process coming to EXP? What was the reason? Anyone else in your shoes would be like, okay, I'll go open my own brokerage. I'll leave the franchise model and open. What prevented you from going that route and coming to EXP? What was the thought process there?
Yeah, so when I was before EXP, I was at Keller Williams. There was a gap, there was a hole in the system. Here was the problem. People would come and interview to be on the team, and they weren't the right fit for the team. So before EXP, if you weren't the right fit for your team, for my team, we would, tell them they're not the right fit, and they'd move on. I didn't have the time, and there was no financial benefit for me to go and just help people that are on my team. I owe it to my team members to help them, right? Yeah. With EXP, there's people that come to us all the time that aren't the right fit for our team. We both agree this probably isn't the right fit for you. Maybe you can generate your own business, and there's a variety of reasons why the team might not be the right fit. But now they can join the brokerage I'm at, not be on my team, but yet I can still help them. I can still open up my entire playbook to them. I can still give them all of our marketing material and where I get things from, and how I got from this level to this level and who they should hire next. I can still help and pour into them without them being on my team. I could never do that before. Yeah. And so that was a game changer. And I was like, I could help all these people. Maybe they're not the right fit for my team, but I could still help them. Yeah. If they just come on board into EXP. And that was, to me, that was like, wow. And I've got 3,000 people underneath me. Only 120 of them are on my team. That means 2,880 people are not on my team, but yet I still pour into them. They still reach out to me for advice and questions. And to me, that was like, wow, that's a game changer.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of people don't see. Even like, since it's been 10 months I've been with EXP, and I'm always everywhere you guys go, right? Yeah. And I'm treated as family. Like, nobody in your team ever told me like, hey, you're not in the team, you can't come. Right? So I always felt like I was part of the team. And Curtis is there, Jimmy's there, Phil's there. Now I have a good relationship with Phil. And it was all because, and this 3,000 agents, I don't know how long it would have taken you if you were like a brick and mortar or like an independent brokerage yourself. How long would it take you? Like 10 years, 15, 20? Even if it was, I don't think it's possible.
I don't think it's possible because the 3,000 agents are throughout the entire country, not just in Michigan. So how would I have to do? Get a broker's license in every state?
Yeah, it's crazy.
But your proof of concept, because like you said, you've been at the boot camp for the last 2 weeks. You're not on my team.
Yeah.
You're not on my team. You're not on the Mark Z team. You've got your own business, your own thing going on, but yet you still plug into everything that we have. And there's nothing you can't ask me for that I wouldn't give you. If you said, Mark, where do you get your postcards from? Mark, how often do you send out postcards? What's your farming system? I would give it to you. I would want you to explode. I would want you to hire more team members and bring on more people. Like, that's
power.
That's EXP.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't. I could talk real estate all day, and it's like this conversation is just going. But like, people, where you were 5 years ago, right? Successful team, you got a lot of sales going on. You want to maybe go off on your own, or, like brokers that are out there, broker owner or team leader, whatever the case may be. What would be your advice for them to get to the level you are?
Well, you've got to be consistent. The business has changed a lot over the years. Leads are a lot more expensive to buy. They're not as organic as they used to be. So you've got to be consistent, meaning you've got to have, I strongly suggest you hire a coach. I don't know how you could do it without a coach. Yeah. All the people that I know, the most successful professional athletes, all have coaches and trainers for a reason. If they could do it on their own, they would. I've had a coach my entire career. I've rotated coaches because coaches specialize in different aspects of the business, but I highly suggest you go out there, you get a coach. It's the best investment you can make. Someone that can hold you accountable and guide you through, the do's and don'ts. Not that you can't get there on your own, but why take 10 years to get there if you can get there in a year or two? I mean, it's just, so that's what I think.
Yeah, that's definitely a great advice. And what would you say the biggest pitfall that could come when building a business like yours? What could be the biggest pitfalls that someone can avoid, that you probably have avoided or you fell into and you got up?
Gosh, that's a tough question. There's so many pitfalls in this business, right? hopefully you don't ever get complacent. We talked about that earlier, but hopefully you don't ever take a step back and feel like you're comfortable, because in this business, every day you start from zero, right? That's
Yeah.
great. You had a killer month last month, but what does that mean this month,
Yeah,
right?
it doesn't mean anything if you don't go out there and get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully, you do what I say, and you hire a coach, someone that can hold you accountable. If you're an EXP, you get that for pretty much nothing.
Yeah.
Your mentor, your sponsor, should be able to do that, or at least help guide you. If you come in with us, you get that regardless. But yeah, hope that helps.
And I know you probably have 101 secret plan to take over the world without giving too much away. With the market the way it is right now, where do you see this? What are we facing this year, and what is it going to turn into in the next few years? And what are your future plans?
If you look at history, right now we're in raise interest rates mode. They're probably going to keep. They've said they're going to keep raising them until they curb inflation. So usually, it's like a hill. They go up until the point where they're comfortable. They feel like they've curbed inflation, and then they slowly start coming back down until they get to a happy medium. There's still one thing that people don't really talk about, and I don't know that it's ever going to change. There's a shortage of supply of homes.
Yeah.
There still is. Homes are still selling. If you price a house right, we still have bidding wars. I listed a house out in West Bloomfield a couple weeks ago for 260,000. We sold it a little over 300,000.
Wow.
So if you price a house right, there's still a shortage of inventory, even though interest rates have gone up, even though buyers have, taken a step back. I think, maybe we see a 5-10% correction. I don't see anything like 08-09. People want to keep comparing, the market to 08-09 and this
Recession,
big crash. Yeah, I don't see that. I think there's too much liquidity in the market. What I mean by that is too many people have too much money still.
Yeah, they're still sitting on a lot of equity. If anything, selling the house is an option, not losing the house, right?
Absolutely. So there's still a lot of money in the market, right? In 08-09, I didn't have much money. Even though things crashed 50%, I couldn't really take advantage. Now, all my friends and a lot of people are just sitting around with cash waiting. And usually when you're sitting around waiting, it never happens.
Yeah. You're trying to time the market, you can never do that.
Yeah. 08-09 caught everybody off guard, right? Nobody's seen that coming. And not a lot of people took advantage of 50% price decrease. So right now, I feel like even if prices did come down substantially, there's a lot of people that are going to come in, swoop that up, and stop it from being a catastrophic event like 08-09.
And with everything that's happening in the industry and the tech revolution we are going through right now, what should we be looking out for? Like how do you see it impacting the real estate industry in whole?
Yeah, there's a lot of changes coming, and the industry is constantly evolving. What you need to do is concentrate on how you're going to bring value to your clients, right? If you're just sending out, putting them on an MLS search and waiting for them to tell you that they want to go out and see a house, that's not value, right? Anybody can do that. They're probably getting those same emails from multiple realtors. Are you prospecting? Are you looking for off-market inventory for them? Are you looking at those MLS searches so you can call them before they see it and let them know that you're actually paying attention to what's going on in the market? What are you doing to bring value to your clients? So I think if you keep concentrating on that, there's always going to be a place for realtors. I don't think we're going to get eliminated. However, the people that aren't bringing the value are going to get eliminated by a lot of these big companies that are, quite frankly, they're better at marketing than we are.
Like Zillow.
Realtors, they're not the best marketers. Zillow's a great marketer. HomeLight's a great marketer. These companies have taken advantage of our weak spot.
Yeah.
And that's, as most realtors do not market very well, and they're taking advantage of it. They're selling.
Yeah, so it's no time to be comfortable, for sure.
No. I mean, if you look at their business model is they take our listings, generate buyers, and sell them back to us because we're so terrible at marketing, right?
Yeah. And even people with big sphere of influence, I have seen that, like, in my years of going through Zillow, is that a lot of agents that were comfortable, like, oh yeah, I run a referral business, and my people come to me. I have taken so many people's like sphere of influence through
Sure.
Zillow. Like Zillow gave me their sphere of influence that I didn't know before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Mark, again, it's been a pleasure. We are way over time, but I love the conversation. I gotta get you back on here on a different topic. But last question, okay?
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself a real estate junkie?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
Let's go.
I never get bored of the subject. I live it and breathe it, and I always will.
All right. Thanks, bro. Thanks for being here. And I would love to have you again.
I appreciate it.